Safia's hand closed around the man's wrist, pulling him to his feet. He was Korean, mid-30s, expensive suit that screamed luxury, cold eyes that looked at her like she'd lost her mind. "Dance with me," she said urgently. Your life depends on it. Trust me." They were on the dance floor now. The ballroom was packed. Seoul's elite at a fashion show and charity gala, all bubbling with crystal chandeliers, designer gowns, and business moguls. Safia was supposed to be performing, not pulling VIP guests onto the dance floor, but she didn't have time to explain. The man moved stiffly, clearly not used to being manhandled by anyone, let alone a model he'd never met. "What are you doing?" he asked quietly, his Korean accent sharp. "Saving your life," Safia whispered back. "Just dance, please." His eyes searched hers. Then, slowly, he placed his hand on her waist. They danced. The room watched, confused and curious. And exactly 7 minutes later, the chair the man had been sitting in, VIP seat number 8, exploded in a shower of sparks. Weird screams, chaos, and smoke. The entire ballroom erupted into panic. The man stared at the smoking, electrocuted chair, then back at Safia. "How did you know?" "To understand how we get here, let's go back to 4 hours earlier." Safia Davies stepped out of the taxi in front of the Grand Milton 6-star hotel, her garment bag slung over her shoulder. The building was massive, glass and steel rising into the Seoul horizon like a monument to wealth. Tonight was important, a high-profile fashion show and charity gala. She'd been hired as part of the evening's entertainment, a fashion performance showcasing Korean-African fusion designs. It wasn't her dream gig because someone outsourced her for the role, but in 8 months of living in Seoul, Safia had learned to take every opportunity she could get. The Korean fashion industry was brutal. Casting directors looked past her. Brands said she wasn't the right fit. Agencies told her to be patient. But Safia didn't come to Seoul to be patient. She came to succeed. She pushed through the service entrance and made her way backstage. The energy was electric, models rushing, designers adjusting hems, makeup artists working frantically. Safia found her station and started preparing. Hair, makeup. The stunning fusion gown she'd wear for the performance, deep emerald green with traditional Korean embroidery and African print accents. She was reviewing the choreography in her head when she heard voices near the service door. 2 men, speaking Italian. Safia froze. Her grandmother had lived in Rome for 20 years. Safia had spent summers there as a kid, picking up the language in bits and pieces. She wasn't fluent, but she understood enough. "7 minuti dopo." 7 minutes after. Dispositivo remoto. Remote device. Posto numero 8, sezione VIP. Seat number 8, VIP section. Safia's heart started pounding. She pretended to adjust her dress, straining to hear more. "Non lasciare traccia." Leave no trace. The voices faded. Footsteps. A door closing. Safia looked up. The men were gone. She stood there, her hands shaking. Had she just overheard what she thought she overheard? Family, before we continue, where are you watching from? Drop your city in the comments. And if you're hooked, hit that subscribe button because this story is about to take a wild turn. The performance began right on schedule. Safia walked onto the stage with the other models, the lights blinding, the music pulsing. She moved through the choreography automatically, but her mind was racing. 7 minutes after the performance starts. Remote device. Seat number 8 keeps ringing in her head. Her eyes scanned the VIP section. There, to seat number 8. A Korean man sat there, surrounded by bodyguards in dark suits. He looked powerful, the kind of man who didn't ask for attention because he already owned the room. Mid-30s, handsome in a cold, untouchable way. His expression was unreadable. Safia's segment ended. She was supposed to exit stage left. Instead, she walked directly toward the VIP section. Security tensed. The bodyguards stepped forward. Safia ignored them. She stopped in front of seat number 8 and extended her hand. "Dance with me." The man looked up, his expression shifting from surprise to something colder. "I don't dance." Safia leaned in, keeping her voice low and urgent. "You do tonight. I'm saving your life. Cooperate, please." Something in her eyes, fear, desperation, sincerity, made him hesitate. Then he took her hand. His bodyguards looked confused, but didn't intervene as he stood and followed Safia onto the dance floor. "What are you talking about?" he asked quietly as they began to move. "Your seat," Safia said, her voice shaking. "Something's going to happen. I overheard men backstage speaking Italian. They mentioned seat 8, a remote device, in 7 minutes. The man's expression didn't change, but his grip on her waist tightened slightly. "You speak Italian?" "Enough. And you're telling me someone's trying to—" The explosion cut him off. VIP seat number 8 erupted in sparks and smoke. Electrical surge. The chair was destroyed, smoking and sparking. If the man had been sitting there, he'd be dead. The ballroom descended into chaos. Screams, guests running, security shouting into radios. The man released Safia and turned to his bodyguards, who were already mobilizing. "Secure the building. Find them. Now." His voice was calm, commanding, and terrifying. The bodyguards scattered. The man turned back to Safia. His eyes were sharp, calculating. "How did you know?" "I told you. I overheard them backstage. 2 men, speaking Italian. I didn't understand everything, but I caught enough. Seat 8, remote device, 7 minutes. "Where are they now?" Safia looked around frantically. "I don't know. They were near the service entrance before the show started. I didn't see their faces clearly." "Show me." Safia led him backstage. The area was in chaos, staff panicking, performers confused. The service entrance was empty. The men were gone. The man pulled out his phone and spoke rapidly in Korean. More security arrived within seconds, checking surveillance footage, securing exits. But Safia could tell from his expression, the perpetrator had vanished. He turned to her, his jaw tight. "What's your name?" "Safia. Safia Davies." He pulled a business card from his jacket and handed it to her. "You saved my life. I won't forget that. If you need anything, call." Safia took the card with trembling hands. Han Min-jun, CEO, the Han Holdings. "I have to go," Min-jun said. "My people will handle this, but thank you." He gestured to one of his bodyguards. "Make sure she gets home safely." And then he was gone, disappearing into the controlled chaos, his security team surrounding him like a fortress. Safia stood there, the business card in her hand, her heart still racing. What just happened? Later that night, Safia sat in her moderate apartment in Itaewon, still wearing the fusion gown. She couldn't stop shaking. And she'd just saved a man's life. A man she didn't know. A man who clearly had enemies powerful enough to plant explosives in one of Seoul's most exclusive hotels. She looked at the business card again. Han Min-jun, CEO. She pulled out her phone and typed his name into the search bar. The results made her blood run cold. Han Min-jun, business titan or criminal mastermind. The untouchable inside Han Holdings. Rumors swirl around Han Min-jun's Underworld Connections articles. Photos and speculation. He wasn't just a CEO, he was one of the most powerful and most feared men in South Korea. Rumors of organized crime, connections to underground operations, a man who operated in the shadows while maintaining a legitimate business empire. Safia's hands shook. She'd just saved a mafia boss. She stared at the business card, her mind spinning. Should she call him? Should she forget this ever happened? Should she? Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Her heart stopped. She answered. "Hello?" Silence. Then breathing. "Safia Davies?" A man's voice, accented, cold. "Who is this?" "You made a mistake tonight, interfering where you don't belong." Safia's blood turned to ice. "I don't know what you're—" "You will pay for what you did. Soon." The line went dead. Safia sat frozen, the phone still pressed to her ear. They knew her name. They knew what she'd done, and they were coming for her. 2 days after the incident, Han Min-jun stood in a basement room that didn't officially exist. The man tied to the chair was injured in his nose, breathing hard, eyes wide with fear. One of the Italian hitmen sent to take him out with the electrocution at the fashion show. Min-jun's men had caught him trying to board a flight to Milan. Min-jun circled the chair slowly, his expression cold. "I'll ask one more time. Who hired you?" The man spat blood. "Go to hell." Min-jun nodded to one of his men, who stepped forward. "Wait," the hitman shouted. "Wait, I'll talk, just let me live." Min-jun stopped. "Talk." The man's shoulders slumped. Kang Hyun-woo, your rival. He hired us, paid half up front. We were supposed to get the rest after you were dead. Min-jun's jaw tightened. He'd suspected Hyun-woo, but hearing it confirmed made his blood boil. What else? The assassin hesitated. There's an order out. On the woman, the model who saved you. Min-jun's entire body went still. What did you say? Hyun-woo was furious when he found out you survived. He blamed her, said she has to pay for interfering. He's already sent men after her. Min-jun's hand shot out, grabbing the man by the throat. When? Today, the man choked out. They're moving today. Min-jun released him and turned to his second-in-command. Find Safiya Davies, now. Get her schedule, her location, everything you can get. Yes. Ani, sir. Min-jun pulled out his phone and dialed as he walked out of the room. Behind him, the hitman slumped in relief, still alive. For now. Safiya adjusted a centerpiece at the Riverpool Hotel ballroom, trying to focus on her work. She'd barely slept since the threatening phone call 2 nights ago. Every shadow made her jump. Every stranger made her nervous. But she couldn't just stop living. She had bills to pay, a career to build. So here she was, numb, working an event decoration gig for a corporate function. It wasn't glamorous, but it paid. Safiya, we need more ribbon in storage, her supervisor called. On it. Safiya headed toward the storage room at the back of the venue, her mind elsewhere. She'd been carrying Min-jun's business card everywhere, debating whether to call him, to tell him about the threat, to ask for help. But what would she even say? Hi, remember me? Someone called and threatened me and I'm scared. She pushed open the storage room door. 2 men were standing there. Safiya froze. They were out of place. Not hotel staff, not event crew. One of them was holding her phone. Looking for this? He asked in accented Korean. Safiya's heart started racing. Yes, thank you. I must have left it here earlier. She reached for it, but the man pulled it back. We need to talk to you. Outside. I'm working right now. Maybe later. The second man stepped closer, blocking the door. Safiya's instincts screamed. Then, voices in the hallway. Hotel security giving instructions to staff about the event setup. The 2 men exchanged glances. Too many witnesses. Safiya seized the moment. She grabbed her phone from the first man's loosened grip and quickly walked past them into the hallway. Her hands were shaking so hard she almost dropped the phone. She made it back to the main ballroom, forcing herself to breathe normally, to blend into the crowd of event staff. Her phone buzzed. Unknown number. Again. Her stomach dropped, but she had to know. She answered. Hello? Safiya? A man's voice. Deep, familiar. Mr. Han? Thank God. Listen to me very carefully. You're in danger. The people who tried to kill me, they're coming for you. Where are you right now? Safiya's blood ran cold. I'm at the Riverpool Hotel, working an event. How did you... I'll explain later. Are you in a public area? Yes, the ballroom. There are about 50 people here. Good. Stay there. Stay in the crowd. I'm on my way. Don't go anywhere alone. What's happening? They blame you for saving me. My rival put a hit out on you. I'm 10 minutes away. Just stay visible and stay safe. Safiya looked up. Across the ballroom, she saw them, the 2 men from the storage room, watching her. They'd seen her reaction on the phone. They started moving toward her. They're here, Safiya whispered. What? The men. They're here. They're coming toward me. Run. Stay in the crowd. I'm almost there. Safiya ran. She weaved through event tables, dodging staff carrying trays, her heels clicking on the marble floor. The men followed, trying not to draw attention but getting closer. Safiya headed for the main lobby. More people. More security. Min-jun's voice crackled through her phone. I'm pulling up to the front entrance now. Get there. Safiya could see the glass doors. Sunlight. The street beyond. She ran faster. The men were right behind her. And then black SUVs screeched to a stop outside the hotel. Doors flew open. Min-jun stepped out, his bodyguards surrounding him like a trained unit. The 2 men chasing Safiya saw him and froze. Min-jun's eyes locked onto them. His expression was deadly. Get her, he said quietly to one of his men. A bodyguard pulled Safiya toward one of the SUVs. She stumbled inside, her legs shaking. Through the tinted window, she watched Min-jun's men surround the 2 hitmen. cutting off every escape route. The men didn't even try to fight. They knew they were caught. An hour later, Sophia sat in a sleek penthouse apartment she'd never seen before. "Where are we?" she asked. "One of my safe houses," Minjun said, pouring her a glass of water. "You'll stay here until this is resolved." "Resolved? What does that mean?" Minjun sat across from her. "The men who came after you work for Kang Hyun-woo, my rival. He's the one who ordered the hit at the fashion show gala. And when you saved me, he decided you needed to be eliminated too." Sophia's hands shook. "I didn't ask for any of this. I just wanted to help." "I know, and now I'm going to help you." "How?" Minjun's expression was cold. "I'm going to end Hyun-woo, permanently." In another secure location, the two captured men sat in separate rooms. Minjun entered the first room alone. The man looked up, defiant but scared. "I'm going to make you an offer," Minjun said calmly. "You tell me everything about Kang Hyun-woo's operation, every location, every contact, every piece of evidence I need to put an end to his constant attempt at me, and in exchange, I let you live. He'll kill me if I talk. I'll kill you if you don't, right now. Choose." The man stared at Minjun's eyes and saw no bluff, no mercy. "What happens after I talk? I hand you over to the police, you testify, you go to prison. But you live, and of course qualified for a reduced term with good behavior." The man swallowed hard. "And if I don't?" Minjun didn't answer. He didn't need to. The man broke. Okay, I'll talk." Detective Park Ji-hoon's phone rang at 11 p.m. "Ji-hoon, it's me." "Minjun." Ji-hoon sighed. They'd been friends since childhood. He knew exactly what kind of man Minjun was, and he'd made peace with it years ago. "What do you need?" "I have a gift for you. We're two men willing to testify against Kang Hyun-woo. Full confessions, locations, bank accounts, everything you need to take him down legally." Ji-hoon sat up. "You're serious?" "Can't be more serious. But you move fast, tonight, before anyone gets cold feet or ends up dead." "Where?" Minjun gave him the address. "I'll be there in 20 minutes. By midnight, Ji-hoon had both men in custody at the police station. By 2 a.m., they'd given full statements. By dawn, Ji-hoon had warrants. The raids happened simultaneously across Seoul, Hyun-woo's properties, his businesses, his safe houses, bank accounts frozen, associates arrested, evidence seized. Kang Hyun-woo himself was arrested at his penthouse, still in his silk robe, screaming about lawyers and connections that no longer mattered. It was over. One coordinated strike. Hyun-woo's empire dismantled in hours, a clean swoop. Minjun came to the safe house as the sun rose. Sophia was awake, staring out the window at the Seoul skyline. "It's over," Minjun said. "Hyun-woo's been arrested. His organization is finished. You're safe." Sophia turned to face him, tears streaming down her face. "Thank you. I thought I was going to die." "You saved my life first," Minjun said quietly. "I just returned the favor." They stood there for a moment, the weight of everything settling between them. "Why did you help me?" Sophia asked. "You didn't have to. You could have just, let me deal with it alone." Minjun stepped closer. "Because you didn't hesitate. When you thought I was in danger, you didn't think about yourself. You just acted. That's rare. I couldn't just watch someone die. Most people would have. Most people would have looked away. But you didn't." He paused. "You're different, Sophia Davies, and I don't forget people like you." Sophia's heart raced. "What happens now?" "Now?" Minjun's expression softened slightly. "Now you go back to your life, your career, your dreams, and if you ever need anything, you call me." "That's it?" Minjun smiled, small, genuine. "Unless you want more." Sophia looked at him. This dangerous, powerful man who'd just destroyed an entire criminal organization to keep her safe. "I always thought all mafia were bad," she said quietly. "Ruthless, violent, evil." "We are," Minjun said. "Most of us." "But you're not. You chose a peaceful resolution. You worked with the police. You didn't kill anyone." "I could have, but you didn't." Minjun studied her. "You're the reason I didn't." Sophia's breath caught. "What?" You saved me. Not just my life. You reminded me there are still good people in the world. People worth protecting instead of destroying. They stood inches apart now. Does that mean you have a chance? Sophia asked, her voice barely a whisper. Minjun's eyes searched hers. A chance at what? At convincing me to have dinner with you. Minjun's smile widened. Let's see. 3 weeks after Kang Hyun-woo's arrest, Sophia's phone wouldn't stop ringing. Modeling agencies that had ignored her for 8 months were suddenly calling with offers. International brands wanted her for campaigns. Fashion magazines requested interviews. The charity gala incident, carefully spun by Minjun's PR team as brave model saves prominent businessman, had made her famous overnight. But Sophia barely had time to process any of it. Because Minjun kept showing up, not in dramatic ways, just showing up. He sent a car to drive her to castings. He had lunch delivered to her apartment when she was too busy to eat. He showed up at her photo shoots with coffee, staying just long enough to make sure she was okay before disappearing again. You don't have to do this, Sophia said one afternoon as they sat in his car outside her agency. I know. Then why? Minjun looked at her, his expression softer than she'd ever seen it. Because I want to. He invited her for dinner on a Friday night. Minjun picked her up at 7, dressed in a simple black suit, well-ironed and iconic. Where are we going? Sophia asked. You'll see. He took her to a private rooftop restaurant overlooking the Han River. The view was breathtaking, Seoul stretched out below them, lights twinkling like stars. They talked for hours. Sophia told him about growing up in Houston, about her mother and African-American father, about the years she spent modeling in the U.S. before coming to Seoul to chase bigger dreams. Minjun told her about his world, the legitimate businesses he ran, the gray areas he operated in, the code he lived by. I'm not a saint, he said. I've done things I'm not proud of. I've hurt people who hurt me first, but I have rules. I don't deal drugs. I don't harm innocents. You're more honorable than most people I've met, Sophia said. You don't know me well enough to say that. Maybe not, but I know what you did for me. You could have let Hyun-woo's men take me. You could have walked away, but you didn't. Minjun reached across the table, taking her hand. I told you, I don't forget people like you. Sophia's heart raced. What does that mean? It means I admire you, your strength, your instincts. The way you didn't hesitate to save a stranger. You're extraordinary, Sophia. Sophia felt tears prick her eyes. You make me want to believe that. Then believe it. They kissed under the Seoul stars, soft and tentative and full of promise. Over the following weeks, Sophia's career exploded more and more. She booked a major campaign with a luxury Korean skincare brand. She walked in Seoul Fashion Week. International scouts reached out about contracts in Paris and Milan. And through it all, Minjun was there. Not controlling, not hovering, just present, supporting her, believing in her, making her feel like she could conquer the world. One evening, as they walked along the Han River, Sophia stopped. I need to tell you something. Minjun turned to face her. What? I'm falling for you. The words tumbled out. I know it's fast. I know your world is complicated, but I can't keep pretending I don't feel this. Minjun pulled her close. Then don't pretend. You're not worried? About what? About me being in your life, about the danger, about... Minjun silenced her with a kiss. I'm not worried, he said when they finally pulled apart, because anyone who tries to hurt you will have to go through me first. And no one's that stupid. Sophia laughed, tears streaming down her face. You're really going all in on this, aren't you? I don't do anything halfway. The call came on a Tuesday morning. Sophia stared at her phone, her hands shaking. I made it, she whispered. Minjun looked up from his laptop. Made what? The Miss World preliminary rounds, in Seoul, next month. Minjun's face broke into a genuine smile. That's incredible. Sophia couldn't breathe. This was the dream, the thing she'd been chasing for years. I can't believe it's real. It's real, and you earned it. The night of the pageant, Sophia stood backstage, her heart pounding so hard she thought everyone could hear it. This was it. The moment she had anticipated all her life, A staff member approached. "Ms. Davies, someone's here to see you." Sophia stepped into the hallway. Minjun stood there, dressed in a perfectly tailored tuxedo, holding a bouquet of flowers. "You came," Sophia breathed. "I wouldn't miss this." Sophia's eyes filled with tears. "I'm so nervous." "You're going to be incredible. You already are." The 5-minute call echoed through the backstage area. Sophia took a shaky breath. "I have to go." Minjun stepped closer. "May I walk you out?" Sophia's heart swelled. "You don't have to." "I want to." They walked together through the backstage corridors, Minjun's hand warm in hers. At the edge of the stage, he stopped. "This is your moment," he said quietly. "Go show them who you are." The announcer's voice boomed through the arena. "Representing Seoul, South Korea, Sophia Davies." The crowd erupted in applause. Sophia looked back at Minjun one more time. He was smiling, proud, certain, completely in her corner. She stepped onto the stage. The lights were blinding. The crowd was massive. The moment was overwhelming. But Sophia held her head high. She walked with grace and power, every step deliberate, every movement confident. She wasn't just a model anymore. She was a woman who'd saved a life, survived an assassination attempt, and refused to be broken by a world that tried to make her invisible. The applause grew louder. Sophia reached center stage and looked out at the crowd. Somewhere in the wings, Minjun was watching. And for the first time in her life, Sophia felt truly seen. After the pageant, Sophia found Minjun waiting outside the venue. "You were incredible," he said, pulling her into his arms. "I didn't win." "You didn't need to. You already have." Sophia pulled back to look at him. "What do I have?" "Everything. A career, a future, people who believe in you." He paused. "Me?" Sophia's breath caught. "You're really in this, aren't you? All the way. Even though my world is fashion shows and photo shoots and chaos? Especially because of that. You bring light into my life, Sophia. I'm not letting that go." They kissed under the Seoul night sky, surrounded by the sounds of the city, the future stretching out before them like an open road. 6 months later. Sophia stood backstage at Paris Fashion Week, adjusting the final details of her outfit. She'd signed with an international agency, booked campaigns across 3 continents, become one of the most recognizable black models in Asia. Her phone buzzed. A text from Minjun. "Give us premium, I'm watching the live stream." Sophia smiled. He couldn't be here. Business in Seoul kept him grounded, but he was never far. They'd found a rhythm, her world and his, fashion and power, light and shadow. It worked because they made it work, because they chose each other every single day. The music cued. Sophia took her position, and as she walked onto the Paris runway, head high, heart full, surrounded by cameras and lights and the roar of the crowd, she thought about the night she'd pulled a stranger onto a dance floor to save his life. She'd had no idea that moment would change everything. That the cold, dangerous man would become the person who believed in her most. That saving his life would mean he'd spend the rest of his life protecting hers. Sophia reached the end of the runway, struck her pose, and let the cameras capture her. Somewhere in Seoul, Minjun was watching, proud, happy, hers. This was just the beginning, and Sophia couldn't wait to see what came next. If you made it all the way to the end, drop a comment and tell me, what was your favorite moment? When Sophia pulled him onto the dance floor, when Minjun destroyed his rival to protect her, or that beautiful moment when he walked her to the stage? And listen, if this story touched your heart, I need you to smash that like button, hit subscribe if you haven't already, and turn on notifications so you never miss the next story.